We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
So let me get this straight. We're going to fire everyone at the CIA, put this guy in charge of the FBI.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
We're going to start a trade war with China, put this guy in charge of the military, put Tulsi Gabbard in charge of all our secrets.
Tulsi Gabbard, what are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I thought it was the worst cabinet-level appointment in history. Really, my reaction was that this is like the legend of Caligula, the Roman emperor, who wanted to nominate his horse as a Roman consul.
Deport 12 million people, put soldiers on the border, and oh yeah, invade the Middle East.
You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel?
Wow, from the category of you can't make this stuff up again, this aging sociopath, when he gets behind the wheel, all bets are off. Now, before we dive into all the particulars, of which there are many, like sending U.S. soldiers into the middle of a 2,000-year-old war with this guy in charge.
Penelope Hegseth wrote, "On behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself."
You have to ask yourself this, is Trump really serious or is this a distraction? I mean, listen to the pushback/outrage, even and especially from Fox News.
I agree with you, Lawrence. I think this is just the tipping, this is the conversation starter. Because obviously the president knows when he says we'll take Gaza. He knows the United States can't invade another country. The last thing he wants to do is put boots on the ground in Gaza. I mean, he is always, in his first term, he was talking about he would like to get out of every war in the Middle East.
And compare that to the Democrats calling for impeachment, which of course will never happen.
To whom it may concern, ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president.
It makes me wonder if this is one of the great grift's cons. I mean, look at this hand while this hand picks your pocket. Remember what Steve Bannon said?
The opposition party is the media. And the media can only, because they're dumb and they're lazy, they can only focus on one thing at a time. All we have to do is flood the zone. Every day we hit them with 3 things. They'll bite on one and we'll get all of our stuff done. Bang, bang, bang. These guys will never be able to recover. But we got to start with muzzle velocity. So it's got to start, it's got to hammer, it's got muzzle velocity.
A record-setting number of executive orders.
Everybody pardoned. Violence, non-violence.
Including assaulting police officers.
Birthright citizenship. We live in unprecedented times right now.
If you keep it moving from one thing to the next.
So far, so good.
Is this legal?
If you give it too many places it needs to look.
You've never been deported before?
All at once.
All federal grants and loans will be halted.
Look, there is a purge happening.
Frankly, unprecedented in its nature.
Guantanamo.
DEI.
The Gulf of America.
Because Trump knows the power of marketing, the power of belief. If you make people believe something is true, you make it likelier that it becomes true. He clawed his way back to great wealth by playing a fearsome billionaire on TV. He remade himself as a winner after the 2020 election by refusing to admit he had ever lost.
Trump has loaded his cabinet with so many train wrecks. I mean, how do you focus? When Propaganda Barbie said this.
We also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza.
She was laughed at by everyone, even Fox. But that doesn't deter Trump. 3 days later, he doubled down on the lie.
Think of it, $100 million on condoms.
And now his lawyer's doing the rounds and deflecting the Gaza invasion by bringing up condoms again.
We've seen $50 million to Gaza for condoms that they're using for bombs.
So if Bannon is right, Trump is sending everyone out to deflect his comments, which again called for an invasion and occupation of a country in the Middle East, a country full of Hamas terrorists who Trump thinks will be welcome all around the Middle East by Saudi Arabia?
So Saudi Arabia is going to be very helpful, and they have been very helpful. They want peace in the Middle East. It's very simple. We know their leader and their leaders very well. They're wonderful people, and they want peace in the Middle East.
Did you hear that? Bin Salman is wonderful people. He killed an American journalist, cut him up into little pieces. Sounds like a great guy.
As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of.
Think about how weak the Republican message is, yet how successful they've been. Biden's son did cocaine and took pictures of his dick, and the Republicans launched a year-long investigation. But today, Trump is firing the CIA, allowed this freak access to unlimited secret data about federal employees and taxpayers, is promising to shut down the Department of Education, will allow states to cross state lines to stop women from getting abortions, has an alcoholic Secretary of Defense who paid off a sexual assault victim, and a Director of National Intelligence with close ties to foreign dictators.
I want to be a dictator.
And now he wants to send men and women to the Middle East?
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat.
Okay, he just wants to send young men into a war where terrorists have proven they will kill anyone. It's a conflict that will outlast anyone watching this. And what are Republicans doing? They're still trying to prove that Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's.
The man is utterly amoral.
I'm proud to have worked hand in hand with President Trump.
Here's what we're up against. This is a tweet from Nancy Mace. She's a congressman who says, let's turn Gaza into Mar-a-Lago. And she was elected along with Boebert, Dairy Queen, and Josh Hawley.
Some will say that I am advocating Christian nationalism. And so I do.
This, of course, begs the question, will Republicans ever speak up?
Because obviously, the president knows when he says, we'll take Gaza. He knows the United States can't invade another country.
So I guess it's up to Fox to save the world. And I'm not shitting you. Steve Doocy stood up to Comer during the Biden bullshit impeachment inquiry. Could he do it again? Would Fox fire him if he did?
But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts.
Steve Bannon may dress like a homeless guy, but he's right. The tactic is paying off. Trump has enlisted people like Stephen Miller.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
Miller and his brigade of obfuscating bigots throw just enough shit at the world to keep us confused. And they've lied to MAGA and their junior high graduate base.
You know what? So what if he wants to grab pussy? I want to grab pussy.
And they've stacked the Supreme Court and federal courts with judges who have little or no judicial experience, or in the case of Alito and Thomas, are all in on this fast-moving coup.
I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know. I think I'm not allowed to run again. I'm not sure. Am I allowed to run again, Mike?
And what are the Democrats doing? Well, in 2028, Biden will only be 87.
I'm as bad as hell.
Damn right. Whether the women like it or not.
Suck my fat one.
And this guy's personal life is a total disaster.
Trust me.
Shut the f*** up, Darren.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.